Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out there.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Oh, this hard goddamn work being this good.
One more again, see what I take on your front set, I swear.
You ain't my daddy, are you?
There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
What time is it?
Game time.
Okay, welcome to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. We are coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in the Adelaide CBD. I'm your host, B. Caruana, joined as always by my man, Steve Burrows.
Hello there.
That was a nice one, isn't it?
It's a new year. I'm turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, a bit of excitement in the voice. That's good to hear. First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Larry and Lad. Go see the boys in Region Arcade. Get yourself an awesome coffee, listen to some pretty sweet tunes. But for now, on with the show. So it's a new year. It's our first show of the new year. And as it turns out with new year, new things happen. And we happen to have joined the Ozcast Network. So big thanks to the guys from the Ozcast Network putting us online with your team. We'll try not to get you shut down or get ourselves shut down, or, you know, we'll do our best. You know, and the slander, the allegations we make, we have to start using the word alleged.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that'll save us. But yeah, thanks to the boys for putting us on. Hopefully get a few more listeners. If this is the first show you've heard, sorry. It will get better. It's our first one back. We'll see how we go. But Steve, I believe you have a question for me to start with.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on one of the questions from about a month or two ago. You're trashing my boy Melo. You're trashing OKC.
Yep.
It can't work. It's not going to happen. Yep. We kind of put a deadline on it. Christmas time. Yep. Well, you know, we're past Christmas time, but it's it's our first opportunity. I'd like to say that OKC. I don't know. Do you like humble pie? Do you eat that stuff there?
I have a nibble. I have a nibble around the edges. I don't mind the crust. But I'm still not certain. I mean, depends what you consider successful. I mean, they're doing well. They're what? Top 4th or 5th seed
fifth
in the West, which is tough because the West is tough.
Yep.
But I'm not giving any credit to Melo, okay? Because he's a bum. And Steve, and I can finally turn the page on Melo because this is when someone really shits me. Because I figure if I hate somebody, they're going to do well.
Yeah.
So I drafted Carmelo Anthony in my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And he's been giving me fucking donuts. He's been giving me less than Andy did in that bonus episode we put out a couple of months ago. He's been the worst. He's been absolutely killing me. So I don't need Melo in my life.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
I'm never going to like him.
I think it's because he burned your Lakers the other day, man. He absolutely, turned the clock back.
Yeah, 27 points in 9 seconds.
Yeah,
It was that wasn't a good...
Efficient shooting.
Very efficient. It wasn't a good game for us. But, you know, we don't need to dwell on that. We don't need to dwell on things that I do wrong.
Well, I'm just saying because, you know, you're pro Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah. Kristaps dealing with elbow injury. And Timmy Hardaway's been injured.
Yeah.
And Michael Beasley is Michael Beasley.
Don't worry, they've got plenty of time to recuperate when it's playoffs time because they're not getting there, man. They're not getting in the playoffs.
They might still make it. I'm holding out a little bit of hope for the Knicks.
They have gone downhill since, I think, since you said, let's say they go in December. Since that moment, New York Knicks suck, man. Almost as bad as your Cleveland Cavaliers.
They're not my Cleveland Cavaliers. You know I'm a big LeBron man. But there's gonna be a lot of trades coming forth soon. I can guarantee the movement's about to start. But the most exciting thing I think of recent times in the NBA is how good's all this fighting.
Oh, right, yeah, exactly.
The biggest knock on the NBA was last year was, these guys are all friends. And they just shake hands and they hang out after the games and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And everyone's complaining that everyone's too buddy-buddy. Couple of blokes start taking swings at each other, trying to get into each other's locker rooms.
That's right. That's
and all of a sudden everyone's like, you can't have that. It's like, well, make up your mind. It's just like, with our AFL. Nothing annoys me more in the AFL than whenever they want to hype up a game, especially between Hawthorn and Essendon, all they do is show that line in the sand game, the games from the 80s, the grand finals where everyone's like lining each other up, throwing punches. Oh, this is the great part of our game. It's a great rivalry. They hate each other. But then if someone turns around and accidentally bumps somebody in the head, oh, that's it. You're going to go for 3 weeks. It's like, well, you can't use the violence to promote a sport and then say, well, we don't want the violence.
No, fair call, man.
You can't have both.
No, totally agree. That's the first good point for 2018. Well done.
Well, there you go. We'll start
start
chalking a few up. But we're going to go on to our main topic for today. So we put it on the Facebook and had a few people chime in. Thanks for that, guys. But it's a list. It's a thing got sent to us by our associate producer, Young Shags. He's a big fan of the show. He likes to send us in a lot of stuff. Keep doing it, young man. We appreciate your work. But he sent us a article off of Lad Bible and had a voting system for the best Jim Carrey film of all time. And the votes apparently, I think this is allegedly. This is where allegedly needs to come in because there's some fucking tampering going on here.
Yeah.
But apparently, Bruce Almighty, greatest Jim Carrey film of all time. Steve, tell them how wrong they are.
I get Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty confused, man. Are two dreadful films.
Oh, no. Bruce Almighty was good. It wasn't great.
Okay.
It's one of those ones. Okay, if you're flicking channels and it's on, you're probably going to watch it. You know, and it's not offensive. It's not boring.
It's no MacGruber. I get it.
Oh
I get it.
Can you leave MacGruber back last year or fucking whenever it was made? Just leave it back there. We don't need it coming through to 2018.
You know what also we don't want in 2018 is the Star Wars films. If they go like they did that last Star Wars film, by the way, dreadful stuff.
I don't watch the Star Wars. Once again, I like girls. But back to Jim Carrey.
You like the Medusas, do you? The ones with the snakes in their hair and the barbarians.
Oh,
and
that's right. Yeah,
I'll try to get that in.
You're reaching, Steve, anyway.
Anyway, so what we're saying, yes, Bruce Almighty. Look, it's one of those films that, look, okay, I was probably a bit harsh, and I was just trying to over-exaggerate the point that it should not have been number one.
It shouldn't be number one. And I can understand the disgust and the outrage because it definitely should be number one.
And to be honest, it's not top 5.
Oh, no. No.
Well, let's talk. Let's
okay, we'll run down just a no order.
No particular order.
Give me a 5.
Okay, no particular order, but definitely coming in at number 1 is Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber. I think my old boy Benny, he showed me it back in 1995, and since 95, it's probably one of my favourite comedies of all time, and probably in my top 10 films of all time.
That's really showing your education level.
I'm quite articulation, but it's just there's so many great funny stories that come out of that film.
There is,
brilliant, hilarious.
We'll get back to that, but
okay,
because you're obviously going to nail that as your number 1.
Yes,
but give me another 4 just to fill out your list.
We'll shoot through.
Just quick shoot through.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yep.
Ace Ventura films.
Oh, so you're giving one? Are they giving them as one or both individually?
No. Like the Rocky series, I'm going to chuck them all in as one. And I like the Truman Show. I really like the Truman Show. Okay. I never watched that whole Man on the Moon one. I'm very curious. I'm actually more interested in the making of the Man on the Moon rather than actually
that's
the
film. The one thing I didn't like. I don't know if it's on the list. I didn't actually read the article. I just saw Bruce Almighty. I'm one of those guys now that just reads the headline, doesn't read the article, and just goes, "What the fuck?" But I didn't read the whole thing, but I do want to see that Netflix thing. I don't have Netflix, so therefore kind of hard to watch shit on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I do want to see that making of the Man on the Moon because that just looks genius. Because I'm a big fan of stories.
Yeah.
You know, I like to tell stories. Sometimes they're long-winded, but I enjoy a story. But I appreciate the art that goes behind how he got into the character and that sort of thing. So I'm a big fan of comedy, so I like to see how people sort of create it. So I was very, very intrigued about that. So you've got that Ace Ventura 1 and 2 as one, so you've got room for one more. So you're going to squeeze Bruce in there?
No, I don't think I'm actually struggling to pick that 5 because I don't really like The Mask.
Okay.
I think The Mask is way overrated.
I think you're missing 2, and when I tell you them, you're going to go, oh, yeah. So there's Yes Man? Yes Man?
Oh, Yes Man. Oh.
Or Liar Liar?
Liar is very good, but I tell you, no, that's not on my list though.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You've just sparked my memory.
Yep.
The film that I like watching with the wife at home, we both enjoy it, is Fun with Dick and Jane.
Fun with Dick and Jane is actually underrated.
It's very, very funny,
It is a very good film.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. So
I'm putting that in my 5.
Okay, so I'll quickly run through my 5.
Yep.
You got Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yep.
Ace Ventura 1.
Okay, well, does that mean you didn't like the second one, or just...
That means I really didn't like the second one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So then I'm going to go from that into Liar Liar.
Yeah, Lie Lie's good.
Yep.
Lie Lie's good.
Yes Man, which is basically Liar Liar 2.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same premise. You
Yeah.
can't lie, can't say no. It's very similar. It's one of those ones that the reason why I always go to bat for Yes Man is because I went and saw it at cinema and I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. And everyone always goes, like once you hit a certain level of stardom, you can't make anyone happy. So he was that silly, funny comedian all the time. Everyone went, "Oh, can you do anything serious?" And he did a few serious roles. Played this character, played that character. Yeah, cool, Norris. And everyone went, "Oh, we prefer his old stuff when he's funny." And then he goes back and does a classic Jim Carrey comedy. Everyone's like, "Oh, old hack doing his old hacky shtick." It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you can't please
The bloke can't win.
Nah.
So yeah, and then I would, I'm probably I might throw in Man on the Moon there because I did really enjoy it.
Okay.
It is a good film.
Right.
But this is where we'll start off with.
Can I put in an honourable?
Throw it in honourable.
It is his film, I guess. He's a main character. Is the Cable Guy.
Cable Guy's
I
very good.
really, really like the Cable Guy.
That would be that would probably be my alternate as well.
Yeah.
That's very stiff not to make the list. And
Yeah.
having Ferris Bueller in there too does help.
Yes.
And there's some really good classic stuff in that.
Yeah, there is.
But yeah, probably would just miss out. I do enjoy your pick of Fun and Dick and Jane.
Yeah.
And Truman Show's good, easy to watch.
Yeah, Truman
Ace Ventura 2, too silly for me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right.
I enjoyed the first one because
That's
it was the first time I saw it. That's very serious, but it was the first time he played that sort of.
Sure.
It was almost the first time I'd seen him.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of people's introduction to Jim Carrey. So you're like,
Sure.
because we didn't get In Living Color here and stuff like
No.
that. So we didn't get all the stuff he did on TV.
Yeah.
So so that for us was like ridiculous. Like, this guy's hilarious, like sort of rubber and stuff. Plus, I'm a huge NFL fan, so having Dan Marino in it, the Dolphins, it was
Sure.
great. Like, for me, it worked. It had a lot of layers there
It was so funny.
for a movie that only goes for about 70 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you watch it back, it's really, really short.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, because you're kind of like, I love the scene. Oh, that's the end of the movie.
That's it.
Oh, all right, that's good. But the one that we're both going to just scrub from the record too, and we've had a couple of people recommend it and put it on their list. I don't want to, customers always right, and thanks for listening to the show, but The Mask fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Why would you say that was a good movie?
Nah, I think people get caught up in the gimmick, man, and, the funniest bit is when right at the start, he
The funniest bit is when you watch the trailer and go, oh yeah, and then you don't need to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, look, there is one comedy genius bit in there. It's when right at the start, it's before he's even got the mask. I think he rolls up to a party and he gets the valet parking or something, and then he has to push the car because it breaks down.
Yeah.
Taps it. It's a classic. That's really, really funny, but it just falls off.
Yeah, it's really it was a good concept.
Yeah.
It was taking advantage of his ability to pull silly faces. And
That's right, yeah.
say things in a cool accent. And I get the whole, but it just seemed very 90s and shticky and gimmicky to me.
Oh, yeah. I never liked
Not a fan. Like I said, Cable Guy's a good honorable mention.
Yep.
But yeah, my number one is going to be Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I
It
love
is
that.
just, like, the reason why I would put Me, Myself, and Irene over Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Okay, because admittedly, when I was a kid, loved Dumb and Dumber. Like, I'll tell you the story. We used to go to, there was a cinema called the Academy in the city.
yeah,
It's
I
now
know
a hotel.
Yeah.
But we used to go there, and Mum took us there. Me and my brother and my mum went to the cinema, and she trundled us off to go see Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And she went and saw Pulp Fiction.
Oh, wow.
So obviously,
that's
because
cool.
we're kids, we couldn't
Cool
go
mum.
see. Yeah, well, we couldn't go see Pulp Fiction because we were kids.
Yeah.
So it's a classic story. Parents separated, go see Dad on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second we could have came up video, we're like, oh, Dad, can we watch Pulp Fiction? He's like, Mum said you can watch it. Yeah, she did. And she was like, no, you can't watch it, blah, 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 blah. But, so she comes out the cinema, and we come out the cinema, and we've both claimed to seeing the greatest thing in cinematic history.
Yeah.
Like, Mum's like, I saw this movie, it's really cool, you guys can't see it yet, but it was really amazing. We're like, no, Mum. He takes, like, a poo in a toilet, right? But it's not a real toilet, it's just, like, pouring out the window. We thought that was the greatest. And, like, there is some classic moments, like the Harry, your hands are freezing.
Oh,
Like,
that
that
is
is-
probably the funniest moment in film history.
Big reach, Steve.
It is the funniest
It's
thing.
very good. Oh,
Next, what's her name? It's Swimmy, Swanson. Check the briefcase.
Samsonite.
I was way off.
It is good. It does have its moments, but to me, it's just it reminds me of all the shit I found funny when I was like.
It's still
10.
funny, man. Don't look down on me, man.
I'm looking down, Steve, only because you're a foot shorter than me. But I did enjoy it, but to me, it doesn't hold up as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and like it's still funny. You still have a laugh, but the majority of the jokes I don't, because it's a lot of slapstick and a lot of, it's just and then when they tried to redo
I'm
it,
so disappointed.
I know Dumb and Dumber 2 or whatever it was, Dumber and
yeah.
Dumber, or whatever they called it. That was like, I even saw the ad and just went, oh, no, stop it, no.
Wait, hang on, which one? Because they made two other
I know
films.
they made the other one with the other different actors. I'm not counting that one.
Yeah, that was
when they
Dumb
went
and
through
Dumberer.
that fucking phase of just making everything into a prequel.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened before these characters
Yeah.
met each other. Who gives a shit? And you made a good film. Make another good film.
That's right.
But yeah, no. So we're gonna not mention the second one.
Okay.
But it just doesn't hold up to me because to me it's a lot of like juvenile humor. And I know you enjoy your juvenile humor because you think someone walking around with celery in their ass is fucking hilarious, and it's not.
I told you that's not the funny bit in that film. Everything else is the funny bit in that film.
Yeah, right. So, but to me, myself, and Irene, because it's got it's got the dumb humor in it too.
It does.
But it has that really, just that real clever stuff, and the stuff that like you may not have picked it up the first time you watched it, and then you watch it again, you're like, yeah, that's really good. Like just the way he delivers lines and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's the whole thing. I mean, he even does his like face comedy. I always call it face comedy because he just can contort himself. With the
the cotton mouth.
Yeah, the cotton mouth thing.
Yeah.
Just gonna grab a drink. Like it's really, really, really good. And the fact that he doesn't play off the fact that he's got 3 black kids.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. And there's just so many lines up and down that film, and you honestly think there is actually 2 different people in it because he does both characters so well and plays.
What was the other one? Hank. It was Hank, wasn't it?
Hank Evans. 4 little girls.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's so good, and he's just so brilliant in that movie. That movie really takes advantage of his ability to play a sort of straight character, play a really silly character, and to me that'll be the number 1 of all time.
Well, one of the best scenes we were talking about it a bit earlier, and I'll fuck it up, I'm sure. So bear with me, people. But it's when he's writing. What's the name?
Renee Zellweger.
Who, by the way,
Irene.
It was obviously it was Irene. Yeah. I never kind of saw her as hot.
No.
No,
not even warm in my book.
She did. I think Family Guy did it well. They caught onto that as well. But anyway, he's writing Irene back to wherever the fuck, New England or where they were coming from. I can't remember. And they come across the poor old cow on the ground.
Yeah.
And he goes, these truckers, they don't care. They hit the poor old cow. He goes, I'll move it. He goes to move it. The poor old cows are still alive. So he puts one into the cow's head, and then. As you did the sound effect so well. He's like, turns around, puts about 7 in it. Pow, 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 pow. And he gets down on his knees. He starts choking the poor fucking cow. And then you hear it gurgle. Anyway, he finally kills it. Later on down in the film...
And it's not even like a big thing in the film. It's like you can hear it in the background on the TV.
It's in the background. And it says something about, the poor cow. Lucky you survived, It's just like... That's fucking brilliant. That is... Harry, your hands are freezing kind of comedy.
Their callbacks in that film are really, really good. My favourite is just the bit when Hank's trying to pick her up in the train after they've knocked out Dewey or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to use golf innuendo. He's I've been a pretty good up and down game. She's turns around and he goes, okay, I'll play the back note. And then she starts making some golf puns back to him, and he just gets lost. He's like, wait, he gets confused. It's just that's my favourite bit in the whole film. Boy, Patrick's a big fan of that one. But I had a similar situation happen. This is just an off the topic story with the cow thing. So as you know, as everyone knows, I much like in Dumb and Dumber, I ride a really cool scooter, motorised scooter to and from work because I'm a badass and I don't like to go very fast. So I was riding my little scooter to work. Now I park it right next to the front door of my gym. There's a little alcovey bit there. It's next to the glass. No worries. Park there, free parking all day, undercover. Everything's good. There's a dead bird next to my scooter the other day.
No.
And it was face down though. But it was dead, but then I'm a little bit afraid of birds. So, it's a weird thing. I'm scared of a lot of things. Things that flutter, I'm not a big fan. But, so, I went to go, move my scooter. I'm I'm just thinking, me and something, this thing's going to pop up. As soon as I start my bike, it's going to pop. So I'm kickstart it. No. I'm this thing's not moving. I wheel the bike out, drive out. And then, like, got out home. Anyway, I come back the next day. Like, so it's been, like, 12 hours. Come back the next day, and I'm looking towards the street. I'm like, is that bird still there? And I can't see it. Then as I go park, it's moved, but it's still there. It's only moved, like, a foot.
So someone's moved it.
Well, someone's probably kicked it accidentally or something. But then, like, I parked the scooter, and I'm just like... like I'm like panicking before, and then I like jumped over and stepped over it and like ran like around the corner like to get away.
You don't
from
deserve those muscles, man. You do not deserve them muscles.
Well, one of the boys goes, "What do you think the bird was playing the long game?" Like, nah, I won't get him now. I'll wait till he comes back tomorrow, then I'll get up and scare him. Like, I didn't know, you know, like I was just thinking horror movie. This thing's gonna get up and attack me at any second.
Wow. If we ever wrestle, I'm going to put that in my promo against you.
You know what's going to be great? If you put that in a promo against me, it's going to go over as well as your Get Him promo that you and Benny did, which is possibly the worst piece of audio over a live microphone in front of a crowd I've ever heard.
It was backed up by probably the worst tag match in history as well. So don't worry, the whole night was schmozzle.
At least you're consistent.
Yeah, that's it. I never said I was any good.
But getting on to wrestling then, we'll go on to wrestling. So we've decided that, you know, you're going with Dumb and Dumber because you are what the title says. And I'm going me, myself, and Irene.
Because you got multi-personalities, yes.
I do have split personality and I'm very funny. So
and a chick.
Yeah.
A third chick.
Yeah.
2/3 man.
Yeah.
You're scared of birds,
Yeah.
right?
It's the live mic that really gets you, isn't it, Steve? You're a pre-recorded kind of guy, eh? You need heavy editing. But we're going to move on to wrestling. So, yeah, thanks for setting in the votes, guys. We'll address them later. But another big thing that's coming up for us, because we're wrestling fans, and, you know, all of the 7 people, although we might actually get more listeners now.
Hopefully.
So, yeah, we used to only have about 17 listeners, and I know 7 of them like wrestling. So we talk about wrestling a fair bit.
Some of them might switch off right now.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Yeah, so if you don't like wrestling, probably, I don't know, skip the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's the big Raw 25th anniversary for WWE Raw, as I still love to call it WWF. It should never have changed. I don't know why they lost that lawsuit. Anyway, it's their big 25th anniversary because it's apparently, other than The Simpsons, like the longest running TV show.
Right,
but as opposed to Simpsons, it's never had a break.
No, it runs every Monday.
It runs every week, other than the occasion. I think they've missed one here and there for different events or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's probably got the most episodes or something of any continuous running TV show. So we do love it. You know, we understand it's not real. Don't write in and go, you know, wrestling's fake. Yes, we were quite aware of that when we were 7. But it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. You know, like all those movies, including the Star War, the Star War, also fake. Most reality TV, also fake. We're very well of how it works. But they've been talking about recently, like, what is the greatest moment in the last 25 years? Yeah. So what would Steve, like, if you think, we used to watch wrestling all the time. Yeah. You know, obviously, it's going to be nothing new. If you're, like, a new school wrestling fan that's watched Raw in the last 5 years, I haven't, so I probably not going to mention anything you know. But if you were around when we were cool in the late 90s, you're really going to enjoy this conversation. So what would be your Steve?
Look, I don't know, man. I can't remember specific Raw moments.
Yeah.
I also remember watching a lot of wrestling between, say, 97 to 2002, 2003.
Yep.
Which I think was probably the heyday.
Well, it's much like the other conversation we had like a couple of weeks ago, where if you grew up with it, that's the best.
Yeah, sure.
So we're always going to...
Do you reckon people saying that now, though? Do you reckon they'll say that? Do you think they'll be like, Kevin Owens, he was so good?
I'm still involved with wrestling, so I still wrestle every now and then. And I go to training, and these kids talk about like Seth Rollins like he's Shawn Michaels. It's actually offensive. It's I feel like just slapping the piss out of them, just out of principle.
It's terrible.
I'm pretty sure that's why Cole would have done the same thing to us about Huey Whitman.
Shawn McMichaels.
Yeah, that's why he didn't like Shawn McMichaels. It was Huey Whitman's world, and we were just happy to live in it.
It's your world, dog.
Yeah.
Look, I see. The thing is also when I was watching 97 to around the early 2000s, I was watching the other company.
Oh, big WCW guy.
Yeah, so
you had a Nitro party.
We had regular routine Nitro parties. We did. It was my thing. I lost lots of friends over it. I think they just stopped coming around after a while. Like,
he's watching the wrestling again.
We're going to like HQ or heaven.
We're going to go talk to girls.
Yeah. But
you're like, Jonah's here. She's a girl.
And we're catching up with Phantom of Menace later if you're down for I lost some friends over that time. It was a dark time, but I got to meet you. so it's
You're making it a real dark day.
Real dark.
There's not much light at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah, help me.
I was a big Raw fan because
Okay.
I grew up on the WWF.
Yeah,
you
sure,
know,
of
like
course.
Hogan, you know, Macho, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Bret Hart, love Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And so, for me, when I sort of, like I said, we've discussed it before, when we sort of rediscovered wrestling late 97, early 98, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That became like, I was like, I know all the old WWF guys are in WCW now, but I don't know. Like, I'm a loyal brand guy, as you know, with the fact that I support the Lakers and they stink, and all my teams that I support, they stink. I will, like Carlton, they stink. I will support a brand, and I shouldn't because they stink. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and watch WWF. And also, what helped is they used to have an ad on Foxtel for WWF, and in the ad they had Jim Neidhart.
Okay,
and
that's
he was
cool.
the one that talked about it. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. Yeah, I remember Jim Neidhart.
Yeah.
He was the best. He was Bret Hart's partner.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Yeah.
So I went and tried to sat through the Raws and the Shotgun Saturday or whatever it was. And that's when I found Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And so it's hard to sort of specifically point one good thing that he did because he did like so many. He was all about just moments. But probably the one that's going to stand out as my number one favorite, and it's not even like a big deal. Probably most people won't even remember it, but it's one of those things that, you know, like when it comes to wrestling and storytelling, it's stuff that makes sense to me. I will always like go, that makes sense.
Yep.
That's cool. So it was leading into that WrestleMania where they had, I think it was like 14, the one that had Mike Tyson.
Yeah, sure.
And so Brett was about to lose the belt to Austin, but Brett had it. Sean's about to lose to Austin. And then, but Sean had a bad back, so he wasn't actually wrestling a lot on TV. But they'd have him make appearances. But the whole thing was how it was when they just started DX. So it was him and Triple H, and they was like the coolest thing ever. Like, because I was like 14, 15. So you see these guys like crotch chopping.
Yeah, and chicks were taking their tops off in the
Yeah,
crowd,
and it was just
they were
like-
they were covering it on the film.
And they
as
had that
well.
music and the police running and stuff
that's
like
right.
that. And I'm like, this is the coolest shit fucking ever.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, well, I kind of think these guys are cool, but that bald dude's really fucking cool too. So it was all these new characters. So rather than watching the old characters I watched, I was like, well, I want to see what these new guys are doing. And I just remember one episode, like, obviously Austin's pissed at Shawn Michaels because he wants to beat him up. But Shawn wasn't, quote unquote, wasn't there. And so it was just, the main event was going to be like Triple H versus like Savio Vega, like a nothing match.
Yeah, sure.
So Triple H is in the ring, the match starts, and all of a sudden, like, there's all this security around the ring because they know Austin's going to try to get at Triple H. So Austin makes an entrance, and obviously everything stops. Everyone turns to look at Austin. Austin walks out. He turns to his right on the entranceway, and there's Shawn Michaels just pops out of nowhere and kicks him in the face. Yeah, and it was just like,
that's cool. Yeah.
oh shit, that was like they set him up, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is so cool. Like
Yeah.
it was clever, you know. Like, you didn't think he was there, but yeah. And then they do that. I was like, that's really he obviously wants to go after the guy's partner and this and that. And then they dragged him in the ring, and this is the bit that kind of got me because you know how like you were saying before, like we were chatting off air that Nitro used to do that thing where they'd be like, you know, the main event was about to start, and then all of a sudden you saw that little logo pop at the bottom of the corner, which meant the show's about to end. And they're like, that's it, we're out of time, sorry guys. And you're like, what happened?
What happened? That's right.
Now, this is the segue to bring it back to the story. The last time I'd watched wrestling was, you know, early 90s, like maybe 92, 93.
Sure, yeah.
And there was a match between, I remember, it was Bruce the Barber Beefcake and somebody. I can't remember who it was. But Mr. Perfect ran in after the match and hit him in the ribs with a chair. And so, like, he jammed this chair into Bruce's ribs like 2 or 3 times. And that apparently broke his fucking ribs. And he
It
was...
probably fucking would, though. The wrestlers these days... That's the thing. These wrestlers these days take... You know, they kick out everything.
Yeah.
If you fucking hit someone with a steel chair in the ribs, it's probably going to fucking break your ribs,
Well,
man.
it does hurt. Like, I have a bad neck from getting hit in the head with a chair.
Yeah, and
Because I
that's
just put
worked.
my hands up.
That's worked. Imagine, let's say it's for real.
Yeah.
It should fucking break your ribs,
But that's the
man.
thing. So then, like, as a kid, I believed that.
Of
You know,
course you
like
did.
a metal chair in the ribs, yeah, it's probably going to break some ribs.
Yeah.
That's just common knowledge. It should be anyway. So that was the last I'd seen of wrestling. So you fast forward 5 or 6 years now, and now I'm watching this episode of Raw with Austin and so then they drag Austin to the ring, and Triple H is holding Austin's arms. Austin's sitting up, but he's holding his arms, and Sean's swinging a chair at his head, and then it cuts. Oh, that's it, we're out of time. And it cuts, and so you don't actually see him hit him. And in my head, I'm thinking, I've got to watch next week because It should have killed him.
Yeah.
Because the steel chair to the ribs broke ribs. If you smack a guy full blown in the head, that's got to kill him.
Yeah.
And that's when I turned on to wrestling and went, oh no, they just all hit each other in the head now with chairs.
Yeah.
You kind of killed the chair shot guy.
They killed everything in wrestling, man. Remember in the old days when like Bundy did this big jump off the fucking rope and onto Hogan and that broke his ribs?
Yep.
You know, then he had to have like his bandages on his ribs.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember him still doing deadlifts and shit with his broken ribs, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
That was always a good excuse. Like I remember we did it a couple of times. I think the first few times I wrestled without a shirt on, I was like paranoid about looking fat, like around the midsection. So I was like, how about we do one of those angles where you like hit me in the ribs and like you break my ribs and that way I can put the tape. Not only because the tape looks cool around the ribs, but then it's like, well, I can kind of have my guts in there.
If you thought that, then every fucking 98% of the wrestlers today should be wearing fucking bandages around their fucking midriff.
Yeah, but I hold myself to a very high standard. Most people these days just think they're awesome by rocking up. So, but that was like my raw moment for me because that one really like resonated with me because I'm like that was a really cool angle. I love the way the story was told.
I like that.
You know, and I thought someone had died.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see, like I said, that's what hooked me, and I really wanted to see what happened next week. So that was probably the first Raw I saw.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that show, and that really drew me into okay, what are they gonna next? You know, what's gonna happen next week? So and then that became like a thing. I just had to watch every week, and then they did all the cool stuff every week. You know,
They
like
did.
the Zamboni stuff where Austin rides the Zamboni into the ring and jumps off that onto Vince.
That was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
The whole Mike Tyson Stone Cold thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened. And admittedly, like, as much as I did love Nitro, everything seemed, like I said, you said before, everything sort of blends together.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you a specific moment that happened on Nitro because it seemed like the same thing happened a lot.
Yeah.
Like you were explaining before that story about Macho Man.
Yeah.
And Sting comes down from the roof.
Yeah.
Fuck, Sting came down from the roof like every week. It just and they all kind of felt the same. I mean, they were really cool, but the only Nitros that ever stood out, and we discussed this just having a drink a couple of weeks ago, was the only ones that stood out was the ones that were at Spring Break. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like fun, man.
They did, because they looked like the boys were having fun. You know, the crowd was all hammered drunk.
And they weren't wrestling fans. They were just like
just
dudes on
college
Spring
kids.
Break.
Yeah.
Smashed.
And that's where we sort of have an issue with today's wrestling. It's just, there's no... I know I'm going to probably get myself in trouble if there's any wrestling fans that listen, but there's no cool people in the crowd.
No, there isn't.
You watch like WrestleMania or like the Raw after WrestleMania, which is apparently the big one, and it's just nerds in the crowd, like wearing the t-shirts, wearing their own belts.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of them actually wrestle as well.
Yeah, I know, that's sad. And the ones that just think they know what they're watching or what they're doing, but they've never done it. It's not a thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird.
It is. I totally agree. Look, the WWF stuff was cool, but I think the point of difference between the two companies back in those days is, for me anyway, is WCW still seemed like it was trying to be a legitimate sport. Like, you know, they were always vying for the title for the right reasons. Whereas the WWF seemed like it was like a Jerry Springer show on steroids, man. It seemed like, you know, the stories were a lot more, I don't know, man. It just seemed a bit more,
it seemed like it did say. I know where you're going.
You know, Sable was there, and you know, I don't know. It was just a bit more.
It seemed like they were arguing over more realistic things, like realistic situations, like, you know, like, oh, you took my man, so I'm going to fight you. Those sort of bullshit fights.
Yeah.
Whereas WCW, did portray it as this is a sport, and these people are competing in the sport, and they disagree with each other in the context of the sport. I know what you're saying there.
You know, it just seemed like that. So I did like WCW, and I love the whole NWO angle. I thought that was really cool, and I remember, you know, what Speed was referring to was before was this moment in WCW early on when Macho Man, who was one of the best of all time, he jumped in the ring at the start of the show, and because it was a live show, they sold it as an unscripted moment.
Yeah.
And it really felt that way, even though you know it's kind of bullshit. But he basically jumped in the ring and said, "I'm not going anywhere because I've been screwed by the brass, and you know I'm not getting out in the ring." And a couple of people would come down because they were meant to have a match, and you know, he pops them. It was just a really fantastic moment, so fantastic that inspired us to do when we did our shows a couple of years ago. We inspired a moment similar to that, and I saw that I always remember that because it seemed so raw and it seemed so real. within the confinements of wrestling.
Yeah,
though.
with the confinements of a fake sort of event,
Exactly.
you can still make things feel real. Which
Yeah.
they did sort of touch on. I can't even say recently because it would have been at least 6 or 7, and probably even more than that, like a long time ago. But the CM, we were talking about the CM Punk promo,
Yeah.
where he sat on the stage and it made it sound like he was having a real conversation about things he didn't get along with. But yeah, that's the only time it's really touched it almost since then. You know, and I think I saw one a couple of months ago with John Cena and Roman Reigns. But
that was cool.
That's you know, there's nothing that really sort of grabs you and go, wow, I really need to tune in because these guys really don't like each other. And that's sort of, I mean, it goes back to that conversation we had a while ago about people having too much access to the heroes.
Yeah,
and
that's
it kind of does
exactly
kill,
right, man.
you know, the sort of magic behind these people. But you know,
Yes.
the thing is, we'll stay on a positive note. Is the thing that one of the things that really won me over with Raw, other than just the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing and the DX thing, was their music.
Oh, so good.
So there's another link that got sent to us by the man Shags, associate producer, was the list of the top WWE theme songs. Now, I haven't read it, and I've heard there's just a lot of contentious shit in there. But the ones that really stand out to you are the ones that you associate to moments. So, you know, I just remember, like, when the DX music would start, like, I'd be like, shit, okay, I'm going to watch this bit. You know, like, you'd really start paying attention because you'd be, like, doing homework or whatever, and you're watching it, and then you hear that music, you're like, oh, shit, got to watch the TV. But one of the best moments ever was the night that, you know, Mick Foley won the title first time. And it was Mick Foley and The Rock, and they're having a match, and blah, blah, blah. It was a good match, whatever. But there's a bit right towards the end where Stone Cold's music plays. And so Stone Cold always had that music with the glass breaking. And then he just trundles down to the ring, but hits The Rock with a chair, throws his hat at Vince, walks back up the ramp, 1, 2, 3, match is over. But the thing that really, and you have to kind of, I should put the link up for that moment, or that match on the page, because the thing to watch out for, this is the bit that always gets me. Like, I don't care, like, even when I wrestled, I never cared about doing the cool move or, you know, doing the big flip or having the biggest. It's the crowd moments. That's what essentially what the quote unquote sport is supposed to be all about. And the moment that glass breaks and his music starts, you see the whole crowd, stand up, 2 hands up. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, there's no clapping.
No,
it's standing up on my feet, screaming, and both hands are up. So that genuine excitement, like, you know, when the siren goes at the end of a close footy game or whatever, you know, like, it's that.
It's emotion, man.
And that's why, if I haven't read the list, but if Stone Cold's music isn't number 1.
Stone Cold's number 1.
Oh, okay. Then I was going to say, I was going to
Stone Cold
just
is number 1.
tip this mic over and have it.
But the idiot who did the I don't know who did it, but it was absolute. It didn't seem to me like he knew the history. Yeah. Like, and he didn't know those moments because there's moments when HBK's music, you know, and he might be coming down on a fucking the Flying Fox and shit like that, you know, or even like, you know, Ric Flair, you know.
Well, plus the fact that Shawn Michaels sang his own entrance music.
Oh, dude, man, exactly.
I mean, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
But it's so cheesy. It's one of those things that's so cheesy it's good.
Yeah, oh, shit, yeah. That's right. And then there's the NWO music, which was a whole movement at one point, which changed the game. Yeah. That wasn't mentioned.
Oh, wow.
Goldberg.
How about Hogan's NWO music?
No. Hulkamania's, you know, I'm a Real American.
Yeah.
That was number 17 or some shit.
But they didn't have Voodoo Child.
No.
By Jimi Hendrix.
No,
one of the great songs of all time.
They had people in there like who are these new people today.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was some snotty-nosed 22-year-old kid who fucking wrote it.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I could be wrong, but
Steve,
to me...
you're about 5 seconds away from saying, get off my lawn.
Dude, I don't know. I didn't read why they were... I just scrolled. I was looking for names.
Yeah.
No Ric Flair, no...
There's Nakamura in there.
Yeah, he was number 5.
Okay, because I'll defend Nakamura beautifully because my favorite.
That's about as far as I like him, man. As soon as that's finished, I'm like, turn the channel, Marsh.
The entrance is the best bit.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of violin. It's my favorite instrument in the world. So you get some violin going, I'm going to like your song. If your song's just violin, and it creates a crowd moment. I mean, the crowd sings along. It became like a thing. So I enjoy his.
The other one, the little Irish guy, man. He's Finn Balor, whatever his fucking name is. He's got one as well because, you know, when he's like some devil character or something, you know, these young whippersnapper fans,
get off my lawn.
all those cool kids out there. They're like, wow, this is so cool. Look at the light show, but there's no emotion. You know, there's no like, this is unreal. It's wow, this is cool, man. Yeah.
I did notice when
You know
I
what I'm
got to when I went to the last live show that I went to for the WWE. It is. I mean, the fans really do get into the entrances. And they do get into these new people the same way that we got into them. But it's a little bit different. It's, this is our moment because the fans want to be part of the show. Sure. They always have.
Yeah.
But now they actually almost get to be.
They do, yeah.
And so that's their moment to, this is our time to be part of the show. We'll do, the yes thing. Or we'll, Finn Balor lifts his hands up. We lift our hands. Yeah. It gives them their chance to be part of the show. So that's the excitement for them. Because these are the kind of people that don't play sport, never done anything athletic in their life, and it's their part to feel like they belong.
You know those wrestling fans that do tune in?
Yeah.
Now they've tuned out, they fucking hate us now because we're packing the shit.
And the worst thing is, like, I'm wrestling recently and I'm like a good guy again, which is like, they're just like, boom, come on. You're one of the 9 people that listen to the show. But that's going to be it today, guys. So we discussed Mello, Stink Still. Jim Carrey film. Stop it, Steve.
Dude,
Jim
just quickly, he's going to be like top 10 all-time scorer in about 700 points time. What interesting bums getting the top 10.
I would be a top 10 all-time scorer if I took as many shots as he does. But anyway.
I've seen your shot. You're not going top 10.
My shot's as bad as Markel Fultz, but that's another story. But all I'm saying is he's not going to be an all-star this week. Yeah. Okay, and so...
LeBron's his buddy.
Shut up, Jim Carrey. Made some good movies. Made one that's hugely overrated that everyone seems to like. Mask. Sucks.
Oh, dude.
Raw vs. Nitro. Raw wins.
Speed scared of birds. Dead birds, by
the way. And we can all agree, Stone Cold Steve Austin, greatest theme song of all time.
That's pretty cool.
So that's going to be us for today, guys. If you've got any recommendations of stuff that we can look at, if you want to be an associate producer like our man Shags, that's it. 3 plugs in one show, young man. That's better than your wedding day.
If you want to be one of those fans who want to be part of the show, like
that's
our
right.
people.
The ones that we were making fun of earlier, but we now think you're ace.
We need it.
Send us in a topic, guys. We can argue about just about anything. But that's going to be us for this week. For Speed saying goodbye, for Steve Burrows.
See you later.
We'll speak to you next week. Peace.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.